Hello, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're gonna make this cupcake plush for my friend's Caitlyn Kiramman cosplay. I'm using the animal cupcake plush pattern from So Dessiné, and I'll put a link in the description if you want to buy the pattern for yourself. I made a couple of minor modifications to the pattern. One, I didn't add any animal ears or faces or anything, and the second modification is that I sized it down to make it smaller. Despite my best efforts, the printer did glitch and I couldn't shrink the pattern down to the size that I wanted, so I just cut off the seam allowance. I know this is blasphemous, you just gotta trust the process. Once those pieces were cut out, I grabbed some Minky and got to work. For my fellow Americans who are struggling to find places to buy fabric, I bought this Minky from Roby & Co. on Etsy, and I will put a link in the description. I used the shade Bubblegum for the top of the cupcake, and I used the shade Honey for the bottom of the cupcake. I read over the pattern a few times, and then I started setting up my sewing machine. The first few steps were easy peasy, but then after that things got a little bit harder, and I also dislocated my ankle using the sewing machine pedal, so I decided to switch to hand sewing. This plushie design has like a little ruffle of icing that goes around the cupcake, and I sewed the first one by machine and it totally failed, so I sewed the second one by hand using blanket stitch and it was perfect. And since the cupcake is smaller than the pattern originally intended, I just decided to keep going with blanket stitch to sew the rest of the plushie. And now it's time for embroidery. I know this part of the design isn't canon, but I thought it'd be really cute and funny to add lesbian pride colored sprinkles. And don't worry, I asked my friend's approval before I did this step. She thought it was awesome. It was like her favorite detail on the whole plush. Although I did end up skipping a couple of colors of the flag because there are already so many sprinkles and I didn't want to add too many sprinkles because I wanted the color of the icing to show through. But it's okay, there are still a lot of sprinkles and it's still pretty obvious that we were going for the lesbian pride colors. There was still one more itty bitty detail that I wanted to add, but I couldn't add that detail until I finished sewing the top of the cupcake, so that's what I did next. In both Arcane and the Yordle snap traps from League of Legends, the cupcakes always have a cherry on top. The shape looked very similar to the little mushroom hats that I make for my frog plushies, so I did end up making the cherry out of felt because I knew it would hold its shape. It ended up being absolutely adorable, it was so perfect. Now I'm not gonna lie, this is the part that I was dreading the most. I was worried the base of the cupcake wouldn't fit after all the modifications I made, but luckily that was not the case, this ran really smoothly and everything turned out fine. Then I flipped the cupcake inside out, I added some stuffing, I finished it off with some ladder stitch, and we're done! As always, thank you so much for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more of my shenanigans, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!